What's up, guys? It's Rob here, and today we need to talk about Sundial stock, ticker symbol SNDL, because this stock is pumping up today. We're up over 4% gains on the day, and this is off a couple of interesting pieces of news. One, there was a press release from Sundial regarding the Alcanna merger that we're going to go over, as well as some potential legalization catalysts that we're going to discuss. So first off, let's take a look at the chart, and you can see that Sundial is up 4% on the day. They've had a bit of a volatile day, but overall, a very positive day, especially regarding what's happened over the past 30 days, how they have been in this perpetual downtrend that they've finally broken out of. Finally, they are moving up again. Hopefully, this is the lowest they'll ever go, although I honestly wouldn't mind them getting a little bit cheaper so I could grab up even more cheap Sundial shares, but I will go to the news now. So this press release came out just at 8 o'clock this morning, so just a couple of hours ago, and it basically talks about Sundial Growers reiterating their commitment to the transaction with Alcanna, which if you don't know what Alcanna is, don't worry, I'm about to explain what Alcanna is, but it is basically a company that Sundial is acquiring fairly soon, later this month. As long as the vote goes well, we're going to break down all of this. So Sundial has reiterated its commitment to the existing consideration offered to Alcanna shareholders. For each common share, this is basically just breaking down the deal that's going on with Sundial stock, how they're going to actually go about acquiring Alcanna, which is a Canadian liquor retailer. So for each common share of Alcanna, Sundial will essentially be paying out 10.69 common shares of Sundial stock. So each share of Alcanna is currently approximately valued at $8.08. After this deal goes through. So they're essentially going to be transferring all of those shares of Alcanna, turning them in to 10.69 shares of Sundial stock when this deal actually goes through. So there will be, after this merger agreement, more shares of Sundial stock available. However, there will also be more Sundial shareholders, right? Because they're not just offering these onto the market to anyone who wants them. They're offering these shares to Alcanna shareholders in exchange for their Alcanna stock. So it's not actually that bad of a form of dilution. Some people are worried about this deal potentially diluting Sundial shareholders. I'm not too worried about it. They are actually acquiring a company in exchange for their stock, so I'm not worried about that at all. But Sundial's CEO, Zach George, stated, "Despite recent market volatility, we remain committed to our plan of arrangement with Alcanna. This plan received the unanimous support of Alcanna's board and management. Sundial shareholders demand discipline when it comes to capital deployment, and our strong capital base is in high demand in the current environment, which has seen increasing levels of financial distress. We respect the right of Alcanna shareholders to vote for or against this arrangement at the upcoming meeting." So there will be a meeting held later this month on December 14th, where Alcanna shareholders will have a vote deciding whether or not they should go through with the merger with Sundial. I expect that they will vote yes, especially after all, Sundial got the unanimous support of Alcanna's board and management for this transaction. So I expect that the shareholders, a lot of them are probably board members as well. Board members probably have a lot of shares and a lot of sway in these votes. So the meeting will be held through this link, and the password to the meeting is Alcanna 2021. And that will be held on December 14th. So December 14th, expect big news from Sundial. Whether or not that merger goes through, it'll probably be good news. I expect the merger will go through without a hitch, but it'll basically just be asking the Alcanna shareholders if they want it to happen. And obviously, the shareholders of any company have the voting power to decide what goes on in the company, especially regarding mergers like this. So we will break down Alcanna a little bit more. Currently, it's trading for $7.51, and we're going to talk about why the Alcanna merger is going to be so beneficial for Sundial stock over the long term. So first of all, Alcanna is Canada's largest private liquor retailer, and they operate 171 locations, so a ton of distribution for liquor right there. And not to mention, Alcanna's strategic partner holds approximately 63% equity interest in Nova Cannabis, one of Canada's largest cannabis retailers. So Nova is owned in part by Alcanna. 63% of Nova is owned by Alcanna, and Nova currently operates 62 stores, 62 cannabis stores across Canada. So that will definitely be a nice addition to Sundial's store portfolio. And there are a couple of key points that will actually really benefit Sundial. We'll talk a little bit more about Nova Cannabis in a minute. But from this deal, Sundial will have improved cash flow with the expansion into liquor. So they'll no longer be relying solely on cannabis for their money. And this will provide Sundial with stable cash generation. They don't have to worry so much about regulations in the United States and all that to actually be making money. They don't have to worry about legalization, which will likely be a big catalyst that I expect to see sometime next year, but they don't have to worry about that, right? It's not on the forefront of their minds as long as they have cash coming in through this alcohol business. So it will also give them, this deal will also give them enhanced exposure to cannabis with the investment in Nova that we talked about earlier, the 63% equity that Sundial will be holding in Nova after this deal goes through. The combined company, now that Sundial will own most of Nova, will make Sundial a cannabis retail market leader with more than 170 locations in Canada, and they will also get synergy from larger retail operations. So that essentially means that because of the corporate structure at Alcanna and Sundial's Spirit Leaf retail operations, they'll be getting more money every year in earnings. They'll be able to synergize and essentially save some money and have more earnings at the end of the year. It's expected that this will deliver more than $15 million a year of additional earnings on an annual basis. So incredible synergy that they're going to be able to form. And in addition, just from a stock perspective, Alcanna shareholders will soon be owners of Sundial stock. As long as the deal goes through, they will be owning Sundial stock, and that will be a huge swath of people who have potentially never heard of Sundial stock before, now being owners of it, potentially after looking at the company and the promise for legalization next year, want to be investing more money. So that really could raise Sundial's stock price just because more people will now be holding Sundial stock than were before. And before I talk about the legalization catalyst, I will actually point out that on this channel, we currently have 7,904 subscribers. You just saw it go up live right there. And we're trying to get this to 8,000. So if you want to join the family, if you want to have updated Sundial stock information pretty much every day of the week, whenever there's news coming out about Sundial, I post a video on it. So if you're interested in that, feel free to subscribe to the channel. It's right below the like button. And we're trying to get to 8,000, like I said, so we'd only need about 100 people to do it, and it would be much appreciated if you wanted to join in. So the legalization catalyst that we've got, this isn't about federal legalization, but it's certainly something that could be pushing federal legalization in the future. It's that Indiana GOP lawmaker, so Republican lawmaker, plans a medical cannabis bill as Democrats push for full recreational legalization. So this is interesting. Democrats have launched a campaign to fully legalize marijuana in the state, and they are pushing for business-friendly Republicans to join in because they know that the tax revenue would benefit the state's economy. However, the Republicans are a little bit hesitant. And in fact, Representative Jim Lucas, a Republican, says, I have a medical cannabis bill ready to go. And he also said, it polls higher, and it means cannabis legalization. It polls higher than any other issue. We've seen 38 other states step up and do the right thing for their citizens. We know it saves lives. We know it offers a better quality of life. So it sounds like both Democrats and Republicans want to see cannabis legalization in Indiana in some shape or form. It's expected that, if Republicans really put up a fight to full legalization, that will at least see the medical cannabis bill go through because it is actually being sponsored by a Republican. So I do expect that at the very least in Indiana, we could see a medical cannabis bill going through, if not full legalization. I mean, I do expect federal legalization in 2022. That's just my expectation. We've seen a big push for that across the country. Republicans have introduced a bill into the House to fully legalize cannabis at the federal level, but we'll see what happens in Indiana. Likely some form of cannabis legalization will be going through in 2022. That's my expectation. And of course, we have to take a peek at the shorts in Sundial to end off the video. You can see that short interest has increased by 0.62% today alone. So that brings us up to 15.42% short interest regarding the free float and 316 million shares short. So I really think that this is far too many shorts to be in Sundial. I think that all of these shorts eventually, probably in 2022, will have to be covering themselves as Sundial stock likely rises in 2022 off of legalization news. I expect that a lot of these shorts will probably be covering for potentially a loss if they don't do it soon enough. So that is a big thing that could also be pushing up Sundial stock price in the future, as it has in the past. You can see this big pump up that we had over here, where we got up to highs of, this chart says $396, but if you actually look at a more fine-tuned chart, you can see we got up to highs of $4.87 way back then. So this was in part due to a short squeeze, right? As Sundial stock really started skyrocketing, shorts had to cover, and Sundial moved up massively in price. It was also in combination with a meme stock movement craze of people trying to get Sundial to $4.20, which they were successful in doing. So I think we could see something similar in 2022, especially after the legalization catalyst gets brought up. I am very bullish on Sundial stock, but of course, This is not financial advice. I'm not trying to tell you guys to buy Sundial stock or sell Sundial stock or make any kind of money move with your money. I'm just giving you guys my opinions on the stock and letting you know what I think about it, bringing forward some of the potential catalysts that could be pumping it up in the future or not, right? This isn't financial advice. I'm not telling you what Sundial stock price is going to do. I'm just giving you my opinion. So if you appreciate that, feel free to subscribe to the channel. And other than that, guys, have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.